I just wanted to make sure the lighting was right.
Okay. My lighting probably sucks because I'm not technologically
Yours is
gifted.
yours is sideways on my screen.
Oh, hold up. Okay. Better.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew. Okay. Go ahead, Benny, and introduce yourself to people, please.
My name is Bennie Denson, and the reason for hearing me, I guess, what we have going on is I'm here to tell my truth about why I'm incarcerated and the reason to me being wrongfully convicted.
Mhm. Okay. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and start. Um, so why is it that you came to the conclusion that you might have been like mistakenly railroaded?
Uh, I believe it's because of my prior criminal history, being labeled a career criminal, according
Mhm,
to Tulsa police.
mhm,
And for those who don't know, a career criminal is basically being caught more than once for the same crime. They label it a career. So if you've had gotten arrested twice for the same thing or more, they label you as a career criminal, meaning that anything around the scope of what it was that you became a career criminal to, they
mhm.
pretty much speculate that you could have possibly done anything else around the vicinity of that aspect of a crime.
So anything that's like it, even if it's not, even if it's on another level, then you
Yeah,
could be, yeah,
just
I see
crime,
that.
period. Just basically, yeah, in a nutshell, yeah, doing crime more than once, you're labeled a career criminal.
That's not, I don't think that's actually fair because that's like saying to someone if they smoke cigarettes, they also smoke weed or something like that.
Yeah, unfairly, that's the way it is.
Because it could be like two completely different things that fall under the similar category. Because like some of those things, those both things, they both have tobacco in them sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what led up to you being charged in the first place?
During the day of my arrest, well, I got charged with second degree burglary. I got charged with like 4 or 5 counts of second degree burglary and a false impersonation in connection with another person who was in investigation apparently during the time of our initial being pulled over and arrested.
Okay, so can you go into depth on that a little bit? Like
Well, I
like
guess the person, well, I don't guess, I know. The person I
Mhm.
was hanging with, due to after, going to court and we got to get certain information to us as to what led up to our initial arrest,
Mhm.
we come to find out that the person that I was with was under investigation for a rash of burglaries. And I guess that night he became a suspect when a crime happened, and we were together that night, and that's what led to our arrest because they were looking for him, and I just
Mhm.
happened to be with him. And oddly, yes, I gave a false impersonation only because I had like 20 traffic tickets, and I knew I wasn't trying to go to jail, so I tried to give another name, but I guess
Yeah,
given everything that happened that night when I finally made it to the detective station, he was
right.
like,
Yeah. Everybody
we
can
know
relate
you
to
have
that.
something to do
Everybody.
with this because why did you give a false name? And I'm like, man, I gave a false name because I got warrants like
I'm gonna just
for
tell you
traffic
right now,
tickets.
Benny. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm a dummy because you don't. I have been in the car with people who had things on them that because I'm dingy, right? I'm very dingy, and I had no idea that they even did those things.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Oh yeah.
so like so anybody can relate to that, and anybody can relate to the traffic ticket. Not me, not the traffic ticket part because I drive like a little old lady. But anybody else can relate to the traffic tickets. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And plus,
So
by you already having the priors and stuff like that, I'm sure that you had like a lot of anxiety about that.
yeah, I
Aside
mean,
from
all that falls into play with it. You know, the false impersonation, regardless of what they believe it was used for, it can be used as uh, I guess a piece of evidence against you. Like they say, whatever you say can and will be held against you. So,
yeah,
being that I gave that false impersonation, it could be speculated that I gave that to hide the identity of, for whatever reason, they were looking for him from. And even with that given stated, it was later that I think I'm trying to get the date in my head. Sorry for going on. Uh Later, because of that case, and I assume it's the only thing that I can make a rational assumption to the reason why they went for further with the robbery case that we're going to be talking about is because the burglaries that we originally got arrested with, they were nonviolent, meaning 35%. The max at that time for that specific case or cases were 7 years max. And
mhm,
when you look at something that's a robbery, that's 85%, where the minimum is like 20 to life. And
yeah, that's a big difference.
yes, a big difference. So I believe, whether or not what was going on, just the fact that me being a career criminal caught into that situation of the investigation and then the whole pushing me toward to jail for what we had got arrested for. I believe that at that moment I was given an offer because they believe like, hey, look, we know that's you, we know that's him,
Mhm,
we want you to do something. And in lieu of doing that, they were offering me a plea deal basically to testify on the person that I got arrested with and make
mhm,
claim that he has done all these crimes, but in contest with me. But also with that, I would get a 4-year plea deal, and uh, they wasn't going to charge me with an armed robbery. This is from my attorney. This is what my attorney was telling me at the time.
yeah,
So I'm thinking to myself like, no, the first thing that came out of nowhere was the robbery. What do you mean they won't charge me with a robbery? So I'm like,
mhm.
the robbery doesn't even fit the burglaries. Like, I didn't understand how they could jump so far into a robbery for. Now I can see
That's a far
they
that's a far leap.
they
Like
did
most like
mention during
I
our
guess
arrest.
like for the lay people and stuff like that, that's a really far leap. That's like the difference between like like a hit and run and unaliving someone. You
Hmm.
know, like that's like that's a leap. You know,
Yeah,
but
so
especially because it was non the first ones were nonviolent, and you said that there was no one. I remember you telling me that there was like not even anyone there.
yeah,
That there were just like
yeah, that's the
empty.
difference between a second degree and, of course, an armed robbery. But they even labeled in the case that we could be responsible to 20 to 30 other second degree burglary cases. So I didn't understand the scope of jumping from that to a robbery. And then
Yeah.
even furthermore, you're willing to take a plea deal where if I testify on my co-defendant, you wouldn't even charge me with a robbery. So, being that I relayed that to my co-defendant and his attorney at the time, we were under the understanding that, one, why would you offer him a plea deal when they both coming in together stating that we don't know
Mhm.
what's going on with the case. We're just waiting to see what you have against us. Sort of say that's what happens when you plead no contest or not guilty. The state has to prove that they have a burden beyond a reasonable doubt that you could have done this before you even get charged with the case and proceed to trial. So we got to look at everything that came together upon that understanding, and I just couldn't understand why they would come with a deal like that. And then later, like I say, a month later after I declined, they offered that. Well, they didn't offer. I just woke up one day in jail and I got an armed robbery charged on me. And next thing you know, they're moving me to a max pod because my bond done went up. So I just
That's a lot.
felt like at the time I felt like that was like a persuasion to get me
That's a
to
lot.
testify.
Yeah, that's a lot that they were. That's a lot. That's definitely a lot that they were doing. Well, so for now, we got our first two questions out the way, and I feel like that's a good stopping point. Just because we have a lot of stuff to go through, because this is a very deep case. So
Hmm.
I want us to take our time with it so that we can engage more people and get more people involved and things like that. So I just want to dedicate like enough time to this. Like I want to like a month, at least a month, to this, to doing this interview with you because it's a valid. I mean, it's a valid thing. Like reform is, I believe reform is possible, but I feel in order for reform to be accomplished, people have to know the information and also be able to absorb it for, because a lot of people that haven't dealt with things like that, they don't know, like they might not know like the terminology and what exactly it means. So we gonna give the people some time to process,
Hmm.
and I'll see you back next time.
Sure, sure, that'll
But
work.
okay, so first I want to ask you, I did have your permission to record this as well as to post it and share it with people.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Well, good night, Benny.
Good night.